hemolytic anemias. So what is hemolytic anemia? Hemolytic anemia is a form of anemia in which there is abnormal breakdown of the red blood cells. So this abnormal breakdown of red blood cells can take place either in the vessels, which is known as the intravascular form of red blood cell destruction, or it can take place in extravascular. So we firstly discuss about the extravascular form of hemolytic anemia. So in our body normally also the senescent red blood cells, that means the older red blood cells, are destroyed with the help of extravascular type of red cell destruction. So let's discuss that. Firstly, what happens is the senescent red blood cells, they are phagocytosed by the reticuloendothelial system which is present in the spleen. Now this reticuloendothelial system, what it does is it breaks the hemoglobin which is present in the hemoglobin is released from here in the reticuloendothelial system. Now this is further broken down into heme and globin. Now globin is a type of protein, so it is break down into amino acids, and then further this is used, it is reutilized to form alpha and beta chains. It is important to note that everything in the body is reutilized, so this is reutilized to form alpha and beta chains. However, now this next part remaining is the heme. So heme will break down into iron and protoporphyrin. Now iron again is present in the plasma and is carried by the transferrin to the bone marrow. Now here bone marrow has iron stores, so it is kept there. Okay, this will again be reutilized. One thing after this heme left is protoporphyrin. Now this will convert into biliverdin. Now biliverdin in plasma changes into bilirubin. Now this bilirubin, important thing to remember is this is the unconjugated form of bilirubin. Now this bilirubin will conjugate itself in the liver. Okay, in the liver it will conjugate and will form bilirubin glucuronide. So now this bilirubin glucuronide which is present in the liver will convert itself in will be excreted into the bile. Okay, from the bile it will go into the intestine where it will be acted upon by the bacterial enzyme and will be converted into urobilinogen or stercobilinogen. When it is released into the feces, it is known as stercobilinogen. Now some amount of urobilinogen is absorbed from the GIT, it enters the enterohepatic circulation, it enters the kidney and is excreted in the urine, which is known as the urobilinogen. This is the normal mechanism, okay, by which red cell the older red cells, they are destroyed. However, in most of the hemolysis this process is exaggerated. Okay, the normal RBCs or defective RBCs, because of the various diseases, they are phagocytosed more frequently. So if the extravascular form of red blood cell destruction is exaggerated, it will lead to we will discuss later on what the clinical picture, what the laboratory findings will be. Now going to the intravascular type of hemolysis. Now intravascular type of hemolysis, normally it does not occur in the body. So red cells when they are present in the circulation, they are normally not lysed in the circulation, they are normally lysed in the spleen, that is by the reticuloendothelial system. But in here what is happening is the red cells are broken down in the circulation itself, they are broken down in the vessels. So what will happen is the hemoglobin will be directly released into the plasma. Okay, so if the hemoglobin is present in the plasma, what will happen, it will be excreted in the urine also. So this is known as hemoglobin urea. Now the hemoglobin urea, if there is present, the benzidine test which we do is positive for that. Secondly, what will happen is there is a protein known as haptoglobin. Now haptoglobin is present in the plasma, it combines with the hemoglobin and the level of haptoglobin will decrease. In case of intravascular hemolysis, this is very important to note that the haptoglobin level decreases because the hemoglobin will combine itself with that. One more thing, hemoglobin itself, which is present in the plasma, is known as hemoglobinemia. Now this will again go to the kidneys, and some amount of the hemoglobin will be absorbed by the kidney tubular cells. Now in the tubular cells, the hemoglobin, because it is long standingly present over there, so what will happen, it will convert itself into hemosiderin. So hemosiderin will be present in the tubular cells. Now when these tubular cells will shed off, okay, in kidney also, in normal all of our body, all the cells get shed off, okay. So these tubular cells, when they will shed off, they will release themselves into the urine. So when we, this is known as hemosiderin urea. These tubular cell will contain hemosiderin, and when this, if we stain this urine with the help of Pearl's Persian blue stain, we can see the presence of hemosiderin there. So this is the intravascular type of hemolysis. Okay, so there are two type of hemolysis. One is extravascular, which is taking place in the reticuloendothelial cell. Second is the intravascular, which is taking place in the vessel itself. Now going to the differences between the extravascular and intravascular hemolysis. So what happens is, firstly, the site of hemolysis. Site of hemolysis in case of extravascular hemolysis is the reticuloendothelial cells, like they are present in spleen, they are present in bone marrow, mainly in the spleen. Secondly, intravascular is taking place in the circulating blood. Now going to the plasma hemoglobin. Plasma hemoglobin will be positive in the case of intravascular hemolysis. Serum ferritin, okay, the storage form of iron, will be increased in the case of extravascular hemolysis, because there the iron was being reutilized, okay. But in case of intravascular, the iron is not being sent to the stores. Then serum bilirubin will be more increased in the case of extravascular hemolysis. Serum LDH, now LDH is present in the RBCs itself. So LDH is whenever the RBCs are lysed, the LDH will be released into the plasma. But because in intravascular, what is happening, it is directly breaking down in the vessel itself, so it will be more increased. In urine hemoglobin and urine hemosiderin, as we discussed, it will be positive in the case of intravascular hemolysis. So certain diseases we will discuss later on. First, then tissue iron. Tissue iron will be increased in case of extravascular hemolysis and will be low in case of intravascular, because iron was being reutilized. Then one more important thing to note is serum haptoglobin, that we already discussed. It is normal in case of extravascular hemolysis and will be decreased in case of intravascular hemolysis. Now certain diseases, they are some diseases which are extravascular hemolysis, which show extravascular hemolysis, certain disease which show intravascular, and there are few diseases which overlap also, okay. So that we will discuss mainly when we will discuss each and every individual disease, okay. Now going to the classification of hemolytic anemias, we will discuss the classification, then we will go to the main peripheral blood findings which we see in all hemolytic anemias, okay. Now in classification, firstly, the hemolytic anemia can be classified into hereditary hemolytic anemias, okay. Then secondly, into acquired hemolytic anemias. We will discuss firstly the hereditary ones, then we will go to the acquired ones. I am not discussing each and every disease over here, it will be discussed in the subsequent videos, just giving you the brief idea. So in hereditary hemolytic anemia, there can be defects present in the red cell membrane, okay. So this is the red cell. If there is the defect in the membrane, so it is known as defects in the membrane will cause hemolytic anemia. So it can be spherocytosis, they can be elliptocytosis, they can be pyropicolocytosis. So all these are defects in the shape, okay. Mostly the shape of the RBC is changing. I have already have a video on this hereditary spherocytosis. Going to the defect in the globulin synthesis. So globin was a protein, we already discussed na, in the hemoglobin, one is heme, then is the globin. So if there is defect in the globin, then also there can be hemolysis. So it can be like in thalassemia, like in sickle cell anemia. These are the two main important, others are also present, but these are the two main diseases, thalassemia and sickle cell anemia. Now going to the, there can be deficiency in certain enzymes which are present in the RBCs, like pyruvate kinase, like hexokinase, these can be there. Then enzymes of the pentose phosphate pathway, like G6PD. So all are these are the hereditary form of the hemolytic anemias. Then going to the acquired type. So acquired type can be due to immune mechanism. Okay, immune mechanism. Okay, then can be due to fragmentation syndrome, like in the hemolytic uremic syndrome. Then due to certain drugs, in PNH, in certain burns, infections, and other. We are not discussing these in detail because each one is a different topic altogether. Now going to the peripheral blood findings. Okay, so peripheral blood findings in case of hemolytic anemia. Now peripheral blood findings is very important. It is the first investigation which we do for most of the patients. So it is the first where we can suspect the patient has hemolytic anemia. Okay, so what are the findings which we see in case of hemolytic anemia? So firstly, you can see in the picture there is the NRBC. So if the NRBCs are increased in case of in a person, okay, or you see polychromatophils, so this RBC, you can see the color of this RBC is different than the normal RBCs. So these are known as polychromatophils. So if these are increased, if this is increased, so you can suspect that the patient has a hemolytic anemia, because what is happening is the red cells are being destroyed and the body tries to replenish them, and it produces more RBCs. So when it will produce more RBCs, what will happen? The immature forms will also come into the peripheral blood smear. So there will be increase in the NRBCs, there will be increase in polychromatophil. So what is polychromatophil? It is actually reticulocyte. Okay, we will discuss what is reticulocyte also. So it is also immature form of RBCs in which the nucleus has been shed off, but certain RNA protein is present. Okay, RNA is present. So this stains differently and is known as polychromatophil. Then what will be in depending upon what hemolytic process is going on. Like if it is thalassemia, you can find target cells present. Okay, so what is target cell? You can see this is target cell. It has a targetoid appearance. There is a condensation of hemoglobin in the center. Okay, so you can see there is dark staining area present in the center. This is a target cell. So likewise, if it is sickle cell anemia, you can find sickle cell present. You can see it is typically crescent type. Okay, so this is sickle cell. So depending upon which anemia you are dealing with, it the RBC picture, the peripheral blood smear, will show its findings. Now going to the another important finding which we see in hemolytic anemia, mostly all of the hemolytic anemia. However, it will vary upon the degree it will vary upon which disease we are dealing with. So degree of reticulocytosis can be variable. So reticulocytes, what are they? They are the immature form of RBCs. So what happens is, if we see in bone marrow, there is NRBCs. Okay, there are various types of NRBCs, and then they are converted into mature RBCs. But in between there are reticulocytes where there is presence of RNA in them. Okay, so if bone marrow is producing more RBCs, okay, so then the reticulocyte will also increase. So in case of hemolytic, because there is increase in the breakdown, there is increase in the production also. So reticulocytes are increased in case of hemolytic anemia. So this is the all a journal picture of hemolytic anemia. Okay, so in detail, with each disease it will vary a lot. We will discuss in each disease itself. Okay, so this was all about the journal introduction of the hemolytic anemia. uh, Thanks for watching this video. Do share, like, and comment if you like this video. Ask your queries in the comment box. Thank you.